Hey everybody, welcome to this special live stream with Matheus. He just matched in internal medicine. It's so exciting. Welcome everyone. Listen, this is a Matchweek live stream sessions. We've been talking to multiple of our students who matched, and they matched super well. I mean, it's just incredible how well these students did. I'm gonna pull up Matheus here in just a second. I just want to remind everyone here of the great results of our students collectively. We've had John who matched at Johns Hopkins. We have people matched at the University of Washington, Kansas University, U of Miami, multiple different specialties, including general surgery, pediatrics, internal medicine, anesthesia. Check out this post on our Instagram page. It's got more than 80 of our students, more than 60 of our students who've matched. And the list has grown since we've published this, so congratulations to all of you guys. I'm gonna pull in Mateus match, couples match actually. Mateus and his wife matched in internal medicine and psychiatry. Mateus is here. Hey brother, how are you?
Hi, boss. How are you doing today?
Good, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Great. I just found out that my headphone isn't working, so if you hear background noise, let me know. Okay.
Okay,
Listen,
thank you.
um, congratulations on this match. You know, we've become friends. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Doc.
Good. We've become good friends over the year, and I'm really happy for you and your wife about the match. Congratulations. Let's start with how you received that email on Monday. Like, what did it feel like? Like you've couples matched. What was that like?
Yes, exactly. And I think that this week I watched a few of the lives that you hosted here, and I remember Willamy, and he's a friend. I met him at the MRCC in São Paulo, and the phrase that he used, like the fact that is absolutely unbelievable, but you cannot explain in words because it is much anticipated. Like every single thing that you do in the steps, you do it today, and it takes months or at least 2 weeks to come back as a result. And I think that on Monday we were really, really happy, both me and my wife, when we saw that we matched. But on Friday it was unbelievable. I needed like to read 3, 4 times and the email, and I only believed it when the program coordinator reached out to me. And she sent an email and said, "Hey, welcome, and you're going to join. I want to meet you." And I think that it's unbelievable, and we cannot like state in words.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And well, tell the folks where you matched.
Yeah, so I matched at KUMC Wichita, Kansas University Medical Center. I'm going to internal medicine, and my wife is going to psychiatry. And I'm really happy that I see one of my best friends here, Mateus, who matched at U Miami. And like we are friends since the observership. We did observers together. So like it's like a movie passing through your eyes all the time.
He's also a student of the Meta Analysis
Yes,
Academy.
yes, I know.
Yes. So, I mean, this is fantastic, guys. So Matheus was telling about, you put all this work up front and then you collect it years later. He actually has one of the first publications of the Meta-Analysis Academy ever. He was a student on the first cohort, published his first author in a major cardiology journal. Since then, he's done his steps, he's done his rotations, accumulated other papers as well, and then finally matched 2026 cycle. So, and then did it as a couples match. So, your wife went to the same program, is that correct?
Yes, same program, but for a different specialty. She's on psychiatry.
Yeah. So this is a major accomplishment too, as you guys probably know. When you do couples match, just letting the audience know, you people can rank different cities, like you can rank different combinations. So for couples like Mateus and his wife, it's not only a victory to have matched, but you have matched in the same program or the same city. So this is wonderful news too, and internal medicine and psychiatry, which are not easy to match into. So, Mateus, let's do a quick overview of your application. Like, when did you graduate medical school?
Okay.
Like, where you're from? We can start there. Tell us a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
Okay, that's a great point to start. So I'm from Northeast Brazil, from Rio Grande do Norte. I was born here in Natal, where I live today, but I grew up in Nova Cruz. That is a small city, 35,000 people, and like everyone knows each other. And I did all of my basic education there. I came here to Natal for high school, later for medical school, and later working as a physician. And I met my wife here. We went for the same university. And when I was around the third to fourth year of medical school, she was in the first semester. So we had this gap of time from graduation because I graduated in 2020 in the first wave of the pandemic. So this was the first thing that happened, and she was in the middle of the medical degree here. So through all of the obstacles, like the things that we had to overcome, this was something. The fact that we were 3 years apart, and this is going to come later in my history here. But graduating in 2020, started working in the COVID pandemic in ERs, in primary cares in the countryside, and in the meanwhile, I joined also clinical trials teams here in Brazil. But the thing that really defined my application was the fact that I started to be a student in the Meta Analysis Academy and later teacher assistant, coordinator, mentor. And this really gave me a really strong, how I say, a background to show off in the CV and also to show off in the interviews, because I think that this is also something we can talk about old grads here, because I had something between 5 to 6 years, and
Yeah.
some programs can filter you, but this was overcome by God and overcome also by strategy and trying to make the most of everything. But the cornerstone of my application was basically good scores. I had a pass on step one, later a 258 on step two. And after that, the publications, I had 24 publication items in my CV,
Wow. Wow.
and part of them were RCTs, but most of them were meta-analysis. And I had papers, I had posters at ASCO, at ENDO, ACC, AHA, so really good meetings and also good journals, as the CCI that you just showed, Doctor. And I think that this is a little bit of everything that I had, and all of the storytelling that I did in the IVs was surrounding all of those things that I did. And this is it. I waited for my wife for us to apply as a couples match. She was a fresh grad, but I was an old grad. So this was also something that I had to overcome. But I did my observers at Cleveland Clinic, Florida, and at the UM at Jackson. And that's where I met Matheus, one of my friends who was here in the chat. And this is it. I also had some clerkships from before, but they were from old time ago. So I would say that Cleveland Clinic, Florida, and Miami Jackson were like the observers that I really used it this year.
That's awesome. That's a complete application. Despite the length since graduation, you did really well on step two. You just to make sure I heard that correctly, you did 258 on step two. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And you had 24 research items. So that's
Yes.
incredible between publications and abstracts. So that's another plus, another strong component of the application. And you did the rotations and got good letters of recommendations in academic programs. So that's a complete, well balanced application. If you don't mind sharing with us, how many interviews did you get, Matheus?
So I had 9 interviews and my wife got 8, and this is a good number when we look at it like in an absolute number. But we I think that everyone kind of here heard that this year was a hard year for IMGs, and usually in a normal year it would be something a little bit bigger than this, like something like 13 or 15 interviews. So we also had to try to squeeze and then take the best of all of the interviews that we got, and most of the interviews were in the same city or in the same hostel. And this is also something that we can talk about couples match. I can kind of give a general overview.
Yes, please do. I mean, it's people are curious about this. So
Okay.
you applied for internal medicine, wife for psychiatry. Tell us how that
Okay.
process works, please.
Okay, so basically, when it comes to a regular application for the match, you do all your CV, you prepare everything and submit it to the programs. And when you receive the interviews, you go through the interviews and you rank them in a line. So if you are alone and you interviewed in 5 programs, your rank can only be something like A, B, C, D, and E, and some different orders, but you only have like 5 options because you had 5 interviews. But
Right.
imagine that I got 5 interviews in a city, and in the same city, my wife also has like 5 interviews. we had multiple combinations here, more than 25. So if my interviews were like letters and hers were like numbers, the first option that I have is not A, is A1.
Yeah.
The second is A2 and so forth. And in the end, you can also like rank, or maybe in the middle, you can rank like only one person matching and the other person is not going to match and is going to reapply next cycle. So
Yeah.
this is the major change when it comes to ranking, and that you have multiple options and you don't rank a hospital, you rank a scenario. So this is pretty much the overview. But another great thing about couples match is that you're not necessarily needing to apply, like you don't need to be engaged to someone to apply in a couples match. It can be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife. It can be a friend. It can be a father, sister, any person who you are really connected with, and which person you want to connect your applications to theirs. And when one person is invited, that person can vouch for the other person who was not. And this is really important because sometimes a hospital is only going to invite one of the people, one of the sides of the couples, and the other person can say, "Hey, I loved your program and I'm applying as a couples." If you are able to invite my couples to also interview in their program, you do interviews like separately, but if you can invite them, I would love, and it would be amazing for us if you give us support as a couples in application. And we use that tool a lot, and it's like really well known by everyone who applies in couples. You can vouch for the other person, and
Like
sometimes
on the
I
interview, just to make clear, on the interview or beforehand.
on an email before, during the interview, or at the end. I even got one situation where one of the programs said like, "Hey, we are not inviting like visa requiring people," and in psychiatry, for example. And I interviewed in internal medicine. The PD really liked me, and after the interview, he said, "Can I do anything for you? Do you have any doubt?" And I said, "Hey, I love this time with you, but my wife is not interviewing here because of the psychiatry department." And he said, "Don't worry. I will reach out to psychiatry because I really like you. And I think that you have a good fit to our program." And she was invited like 2 hours from that. Because
Wow.
this is kind of a type of a signal that you can give to the program
Yeah, it's like
that
the internal medicine program director emailed the psychiatry program director, and he was like, "Yo, bro, you gotta invite
yes.
this person."
Yes, exactly. It's something like, please, can you look at that person application?
Yeah,
And they look at it, they see the reason why we are asking, because lots of applications go like unnoticed, unfortunately, nowadays. So the signals is a way to overcome this. But also, I would say that the couples match is a possibility, but we cannot banalize couples match. We cannot apply with someone because we don't have any connection. They are going to ask you why you are couples matching with that person. And for a husband and wife or sister and brother, like it's obvious. But if you have a weak connection with the person, it might cite something complicated. But
yeah.
for us, everyone understood and they supported us as a family. 90% of the programs did it for us.
The other thing you can tell, like if a program director is really interested in doing that for you and helping you out, it goes to show the type of program director that that person is.
Yes.
Like it's someone who's not only going to support you to recruit you, someone who's likely to support you, as you do become a resident. People go through difficult times. They have need advice. They need mentors and residency. Like my program directors have been outstanding. Like, and when I trained in Miami, my program director was amazing. Like at Hopkins, wow, this guy, Dr. Steve Schulman, was the best. You used to walk into his office and you'd feel like you could conquer the world after you left the office with him. And Hopkins at Brigham, the same, like at Harvard. So, these are the program directors that you really they transform your careers, and it's a good to see that from the beginning, from the onset at interview day, or at the time you're applying. So that's really good, Matheus. So you built this really rock star application. What were the interviews like? What were the things that really came up most of the time, and people were mostly interested in debating and talking with you?
Okay, I think that the interviews is it's probably the most important point of all of the track of the path to become like a resident in the US, because everyone is kind of training somehow for the interviews, but when you're doing as a couples match, you not only you need to be good in your interview, the other person, the other side of your couples also need to perform well in their interview. And this was the thing that we worried the most. I think we trained like a lot doing mock interviews with friends or with professors who are like specialists in this type of interview. Most of the questions, something like 80 to 90% of the questions were something that we were prepared, and the 10% or 15, 20% was freestyle, I would like to say. But most of the questions, especially as an old grad, they asked me to tell, Matheus, tell me about yourself. Like, we need to know a little bit about you, what you did so far. Some people even did like, hey, you graduated in 2020, is that correct? What did you do so far? And when I started telling them that I had a reason for this, I was waiting for my wife. I was also working in the pandemic, primary care, doing meta-analysis, teaching, doing clinical trials. They were okay. So you were busy, and that's great. You're bringing a lot to the program. So this was the first thing. Tell me about yourself, your career. Tell me about your aspirations. And this is kind of connected because you can tell about yourself already, telling where you want to go and why you are applying to the program and what are your goals in 5 to 10 years, something like this. And a few of them really gave a focus to my research interests, and they saw my papers and they asked me about that paper that you just showed on PubMed. They asked me to say, hey, what was the highlight for you so far? And this one was probably asked, I'd say like 3 or 4 interviews. They said like, Mateus, what was the best research that you did so far, the one that taught you the most? And when I was explaining that to them, I think that the meta-analysis, like the fact that we have a clinical question, the fact that we have a picot, I think it's really easy to show them like, hey, I had this doubt, I saw this paper, and I delved in the topic, and I needed to be really well prepared, remember the results of everything, but also being confident in showing them what you did. If you're able to share this knowledge with someone else, like I have my brother who also did the meta-analysis academy, I also published it, and they saw like, hey, I see something in pediatrics here in your application. What is that? And said, no, that's my brother. We did it together.
Yeah.
So this was kind of the general overview. People just wanted to meet me. I didn't have like sketchy questions. They just want to know me, know if I was a good fit, to know what I could bring to the program. And I was really happy, nervous, of course, but I was really happy in most of my IVs. And it was a really special time. I wouldn't do it again because it's really stressful, but it was really nice. I met amazing people.
Oh, you're gonna do it again. You're gonna do it again in
Oh
about
yes,
three
we have it. We
years.
have the fellowship. We have the fellowship.
You're gonna do it again in no
But
time,
internal medicine, I wouldn't do it again.
for
Like
sure.
internal medicine.
Yeah. So this is great, Mateus. You had the research, you had the steps, you even worked in clinical trials, you were saying, and you did that over 5 years. Is there anything that you would do different? Like looking back and seeing the outcome right now, would you modify anything?
Just for the fact that I had to do it with my wife and we had this gap between one person and the other, like I don't think I would go back because it would mean to apply as a single match, and this wasn't my plan. So I wouldn't change it if I wasn't on the situation of a gap of a 3 years or something. I think that I would try everything to avoid applying as an old grad. And I even received this suggestion from you, doctor, a few years ago, like try to not be an old grad because this can make your life harder. And yes, it made my life harder because a few programs are going to filter you. No matter the fact that you met them in person, no matter the fact that you have a direct recommendation for the program, and you have a good fit, but try to avoid everything that can become a problem.
Yeah,
Like, and this goes for everything. Like, if you have a step one, try to take it, just sit for the step when you are most prepared as possible. If you are not good on the NBMEs and etc., don't do it. Avoid a problem. And if you are not prepared for step two, like the scores are not great on the NBMEs and other self assessments, don't do it,
yeah,
and try to avoid red flags as much as possible. The ones that you have, and everyone's going to have, something that is not perfect in the application, you try to show them with pride and try to show that you overcome something. If you had a fail, show that you did everything that you could later to improve it. If you didn't have a lot of research in the beginning and you're fail, I don't know, next application, next cycle, try to do more research. And if you applied and didn't match it once, use it as a elevation for the next, as a growth mechanism. And this is it. I think that it's pretty much what I would recommend for everyone.
No, that's great advice. That's really great advice. Um, if I could add or just compliment, actually, it's just, in other words, a focus on what's within your control. Like, if, like, year of graduation, like, you can't change that, but, you can do well in step two. You can learn how to publish some really good papers, especially with meta-analysis. You can do the rotations, get good letters of recommendation. Focus on what's within your control. And the other point that I've been highlighting in all these live streams, I've had the wonderful opportunity to over the week to speak with a lot of our students from the Meta Analysis Academy who matched. And the one thing that always comes up is like a balanced application, well balanced, like good research, good scores, good rotations and letters of recommendations. You guys don't need a 275 on step two. If you get it, great, but you don't need it. You don't need, you know, 40 papers, 30 papers. The thing that you do need is not to have any gaps. Oh, I failed step one, not good. I got very low score on step two, not good. No publications or very weak, just case reports, not good. So you want to avoid those gaps and you want to have a well balanced, strong application in multiple components. So that's fantastic. Matheus, it's a long journey. Like you said, you spent a few years on this between steps and rotations in step one and papers. What advice would you give for people who are like more junior? They're just starting out this process or in their middle of it and they're like disappointed and frustrated just how long it takes. Like, what advice would you give for the folks who are more junior and are coming around now?
I think that right now we have way more information and we have better paths to go, simply to pursue. Because when I first heard about the steps, it was like 2018. Like we didn't have Enki, we didn't have all of the knowledge that we have so far. We didn't have the Meta Analysis Academy at that time. So there's a lot of good tools that were developed over the time. And what I always say to people is like, you have a road, that road is hard, but it's going to take a while. Like I'm not a huge defend. I'm not someone who likes to do everything like in a rush and try to do everything in any way. I like to be take my time, do it wisely, and take the time that is needed. And I would say that you focus one step at a time. On the step one, later you focus at the step two. The research can come before that, in the middle, or at the end. But I would say that there's a great advice. There is something like you don't learn when you're tired, you don't need to quit. You need to rest. So this is the thing, like it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. If you are doing, I don't know, like step one during the last year of college and you feel like you're in a mental breakdown, I would say, hey, chill, take your time. You can do it when you graduate. And there's time for everything in life. And I think that all of the people who matched it this year and in years before, like they have different stories. We have great stories of people with step one fail, who they overcome in a different way. People who tried to study in the university for the during the medical degree for the step one and step two, and they couldn't make it, as I did. I only took my steps when I was already graduated, and I could handle my schedule of the week. And that worked for me, that worked for my wife. So I mean like we have people who can do it all at once, who are mega productive and etc. But we don't necessarily need to be like this because the steps is not a game for it's not a game for the most brilliant mind in the world. It's just a test of persistence. So I would say like have a well balanced application. You don't need to be a rock star in everything. You can be like a solid 8 to 8.5 to 9 in everything, and you're going to do it good. And you have time for that. We are not necessarily in a hurry to do it. or peer pressure or fear of missing out or something like this. So, like, if you're in a hard time, just take a break, like rest for, I don't know, a week, and then you can come back stronger. Don't quit, learn to rest. And this
Yeah,
is it.
this is great advice. Great advice. In fact, on the subject of resilience and overcoming difficulties in the process, we have a few of our students this time, this cycle, who actually had applied before and they didn't match, and then they reapplied. And they, in that time, they joined the Meta Analysis Academy, where they published a lot of papers, and then they reapplied successfully. So I want to take this and the story of Matheus as an example to encourage people to not leave that gap of strong publications. And by no means am I saying it's the only component. Get good scores, get good rotations. But if you have strong research as first author like Matheus, it's really going to help you in your journey. And if you want to join the Meta Analysis Academy too, we're preparing a super special edition for the second half of the year and the 10th edition of the Meta Analysis Academy. If you want to join, just hit the wait list. You can, and we'll get you set up. Someone from our team will reach out. Matheus, I really want to thank you for joining and sharing your story today. I want to congratulate you and Alice, your wife, for like this great result. I'm really proud of you guys. Congratulations on not just the result, but all the hard work that was necessary during these years to achieve this incredible result. Really proud of you. I want to thank you for your friendship, for your collaboration, for all the, as you mentioned, I should have emphasized that myself too. So I want to thank Matheus for his incredible work in the Meta Analysis Academy. He was a tutor, a mentor now to many. Um, he's in our another initiative, the BRS, Boston Research Society, where we help people to come to the United States for a career. So he's a powerhouse, like incredible, like collaboration, friendship over the years, and I'm really thankful for that, Mateus. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much, doctor. And it was a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. Like, since I met you, my career changed. And I really need to say that probably the best part to talk about myself on the interviews was to tell how much I could grow when I received the opportunity. So when everyone said like, "Hey, I saw this meta-analysis thing here on your CV. What is it?" And I explained and I said I was a student and I did it well, and then I become a teacher assistant, and after that I did it well, and everything was progressing at the time of God, and things were happening. But I know that lots of those doors were opened by you and were paving those pathways, and it completely changed my life, the life of my wife, and we are so grateful for the community that we built over the years. And it has been a pleasure for work with you, sir, and all of our team.
I remember when we were working on this paper together, Mateus. I remember like reviewing it with you, and then to see this happen now, it's just
Yes.
like amazing. It's just like it's a blessing from God that we were able to see this moment and have this happen. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing your story. Guys, if you want to join the Meta Analysis Academy, make sure to go to our wait list. And Mateus, have a good rest of your Sunday. Enjoy this time.
Thank you. Thank you,
Celebrate a
Doc.
whole lot. Get some rest because in July, you're going to be busy, my friend. You're going to be
Yes, I'm
busy.
looking forward to it.
All right.
And thank you. Have a nice weekend, Doc. Good
See you
week.
guys. Take care. This was
Bye,
a beautiful
everyone.
story of Mateus and Alice Moreira. Bye bye.
Bye.